Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a scenario that is, well, all too familiar for parents of neurodiverse children. You know the one, where your child clearly knows the rules, but still totally struggles to follow them. We're going to be looking at an animated step-by-step visual guide to break down exactly what's happening in those really tough moments. And, more importantly, we're going to explore how the dynamic tools from Bright Kids AI, a platform entirely dedicated to empowering every bright mind, can give your family some incredibly actionable, proactive solutions.
Here's our agenda for today. We'll start with Section 1, the late-night frustration, then Section 2, the counterintuitive truth, Section 3, executive functions and senses, Section 4, the three-step playbook, and finally, Section 5, real-world application.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the late-night frustration, when rules are broken.
Okay, picture this. It's late, the house is finally quiet, and your mind is just racing. You've just had another one of those exhausting confrontations. Your child looked you right in the eye, they clearly understood the rule you just set, and then they seem to do the exact opposite. You're left sitting there feeling totally defeated, asking yourself this one burning question. Why does my child clearly understand the rules but keep breaking them anyway? Are they just trying to push my buttons? Look, for parents of neurodiverse kids, this isn't just a rare one-off event. It can be a daily struggle that breeds a huge amount of self-doubt.
That brings us to Section 2, the counterintuitive truth, redefining rule-breaking. So there's this really common assumption of intentional defiance, and we need to contrast that with the neurological reality of your child's developing brain. On the one side, we have will. That's the natural assumption that a child is being manipulative or just naughty on purpose. But actually, scratch that, because on the other side, we see the counterintuitive truth, which is skill. What looks like a choice to misbehave is very often not about will at all, it's about skill. Your child might genuinely know the rule, but they literally just lack the neurological tools in that specific heat of the moment to follow it consistently. This distinction, it's an absolute game changer. It shifts the narrative from your child being bad to your child facing a real challenge that needs your active, loving support.
Moving on to Section 3, executive functions and senses, the why behind the behavior.
First up, let's quickly define executive functions. You can really just think of these as the brain's CEO. They're in charge of managing tasks, planning things out, remembering instructions, controlling impulses, and shifting focus. For a lot of neurodiverse children, especially those with ADHD or autism, this internal CEO simply develops at a slightly different pace.
So when knowing a rule doesn't translate into actually doing it, it's usually because one of these four CEO skills has temporarily gone offline. Think about working memory. That's dropping the rule completely when there are distractions. Or impulse control, failing to pause and resist an urge, even when they know for a fact it's wrong. Then there's flexible thinking, where an unexpected change to the routine suddenly feels like the end of the world. And finally, self-regulation, making it incredibly hard to manage emotions enough to, say, wait their turn, or keep their hands to themselves. Your child might intellectually know they shouldn't do something, but the information just isn't accessible when their brain is frustrated.
And that brings us to a second major factor, which is sensory overload. Just imagine trying to follow a complex set of instructions while a fire alarm is blaring right next to your ear and the lights are flickering. That is exactly what everyday environments can feel like for a child with sensory sensitivities. On the one hand, we have overstimulation, where a noisy room or even just scratchy clothes trigger a fight or flight response. Rules become totally irrelevant here because basic survival instinct takes over. On the flip side, we have understimulation. A child might break the rules by touching literally everything in sight or making loud noises simply because their body desperately needs that sensory input to feel regulated. They aren't trying to be bad, they're just trying to survive their environment.
Section 4, the three-step playbook, actionable Bright Kids AI strategies.
All right, so here is your upbeat, beautifully animated step-by-step guide to actively supporting your child through these roadblocks. Step 1, externalize rules and routines. Step 2, proactive sensory support and regulation. And Step 3, practice executive skills in low-stakes environments.
This maps out perfectly how the practical tools inside Bright Kids AI seamlessly weave into these three core strategies. If the challenge is forgetting rules, the strategy is to externalize routines, and the Bright Kids AI tool for that is personalized songs and stories. If the challenge is sensory overload, we need proactive support, which is where the MyStars check-in tool really shines. And if the challenge is parental burnout, which is so real, you need on-demand guidance, and that's provided by the Jenny Assistant. Let's break these down.
Okay, looking closer at Step 1, you really cannot rely on verbal instructions alone when a child's working memory is totally taxed. Instead, you can externalize routines using Bright Kids AI personalized stories and songs. And these aren't just generic run-of-the-mill books. They are custom-generated using your child's actual name, their favorite toys, and their current learning goals. Seeing themselves as the hero, not as someone struggling but just a hero doing what they love, reinforces the rules visually and narratively. Parents are even using these custom songs as transition anchors to signal bedtime or school time, cutting right through the sensory noise, because the song is built specifically for them.
For step 2, instead of demanding frustrating verbal explanations during a meltdown, which, as we now know, their brain just can't process in that moment, you can use the visual My Stars tool. It replaces words entirely. Kids just tap an animated avatar matching one of 4 states: a violet sleepy star for low energy, a teal bright star when they're calm and ready to learn, an amber zoom star when they are buzzing with high energy, and an orange big boom when they are completely overwhelmed and flooded. The absolute key principle here: all states are okay. We aren't trying to fix the state, we're just naming it, which almost immediately helps de-escalate the situation.
And the best part is, over time, tapping these stars removes the need for complex vocabulary and builds a really clear, manageable picture of your child's regulation patterns. For example, a parent might look at this and see, okay, my child is a bright star 50% of the time, but the big booms and zoom stars take up a significant chunk too. Tracking this dynamically allows families to actually predict behavior rather than just constantly reacting to it.
Let's move to Section 5, Real-World Application, Connecting Patterns to Solutions.
By reviewing the weekly brief tool inside Bright Kids AI, a parent can instantly spot actionable data. Instead of feeling like every single day is just a random struggle, the data might show something like a consistent, stressful spike in big booms, specifically on Tuesdays. And once a pattern is visible, it becomes actionable. You can literally take this chart directly to a therapist or an IEP meeting.
Look at this quote from a parent. It shows the real-world impact perfectly. They realized that their Tuesday meltdowns weren't defiance at all. By looking at the weekly brief, they connected the big booms to the sensory overload of a noisy group music lesson that happened right before it. Armed with this new knowledge, the parent shifted from discipline to proactive support, scheduling a sensory break during that exact window. It completely removed the battle of wills, all because they recognized their child had simply hit a sensory limit.
And remember, for step 3, you want to practice these executive skills in low-stakes environments when everyone is nice and calm. But hey, if you are ever feeling totally defeated at 10 p.m. after a really hard day, Bright Kids AI includes Jenny. She is a warm conversational AI guide built just for parents. Now, she doesn't replace a clinician, but she's there for that exact critical moment between noticing a pattern and figuring out what to do about it. She gives short, encouraging, and super useful advice so you never have to feel alone while trying to figure out your next step.
To wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with one incredibly empowering question. Instead of asking, how do I punish this bad behavior? What if we start asking, what skill does my child need help building right now? Shifting from will to skill changes absolutely everything. By utilizing dynamic visual tools and pattern recognition, we can move away from those late-night frustrations and truly start empowering every bright mind. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this transformative approach today.